Hello everyone, Catweazle here, welcome to the channel and welcome back to Perdition's Mouth and Abyssal Rift, where we're just about to start episode 3. But unfortunately, before we start episode 3, yes, we have to visit Catweazle's cock-up corner because I did a huge mistake last turn. The only good thing about it is that I spotted it myself. But unfortunately, I'd already uploaded the video. So what did I do? Well, it surrounds good old Tyra, who is here, except she isn't, because she couldn't move that far and she couldn't attack the guard. Why not? Well, if you remember, we had Olazabal here and we had Tyra here. And then in order to get through here, open the door and get to here and attack, Olazabal aided Tyra, gave her the gasoline and the grease card in order that she got 8 movement to get all the way in here. There is one big problem with that. Any other character, pretty much, it would have been fine, but not Tyra, because Tyra has a passive which is no aiding. She cannot be aided by other characters. That is a real downer. She can be aided by other characters, but she needs a special card. She's got a call for help card, but unfortunately that's still in her deck, so she couldn't get all that aid from Olazabal. So we have to shut the door again. What would have happened? Well, she ended up with 3 movement points. We would have still moved her on to charge because we did want the movement. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and she is stood at the door and she would have finished there. Now the good thing about that, the only good thing about that, is it does mean that Olazabal got grease and gasoline back because she couldn't play them, so those would have gone back into her hand. Now during Olazabal's go, because I'd played these incorrectly, she actually used extra steam. The reason she used extra steam was she had 2 action points, 1, 2, and we wanted her to get as close to the door as possible. But because we've got these back, we would have only played gasoline. So we're going to keep extra steam and grease. Those go back into her hand. Because Tyra was here and right in front of the door, we only needed to use 2 extra action points. So she'd have spent gasoline and gone 1, 2 and gone right behind her here. So that's where we would have finished. That's how we would have done it. I would have still moved Tyra to the door. I think it's pretty obvious during the last episode I was talking about getting in here. If we're going to do any fighting, I prefer to do it from in here, and we would be nearer to the exit. So I thought it was going a bit too easy. And the reason it was going a bit too easy was we gave an aid to Tyra when she couldn't have any. So we have now fixed that. Apologies for that. It is my first game. If I'd played the game a lot more, I would have been used to Tyra's passives and her special abilities. I just completely overlooked her passive ability there. And I was keen, as you can tell at the end of the first episode, I was very keen to show you how aiding worked. And how do I do that? I try and aid a character that can't be aided. So there you go. Bit of a classic mess up there. But we've fixed it now. So let's get on with the rest of episode 3. What we'll do is we'll have a quick visit to each one of our player areas and just see where everyone's up to, seeing as I've made a bit of a mess up and had to change things around a little. So first of all, we'll have a quick look at Tyra. And here we are with Tyra. So she hasn't lost any health, she's still at 5, and she's still got 2 of her cards. She's got bodyguard here and adrenaline boost. Now I could have committed one or the other of those in order to get extra movement. They're not actual movement cards. One's a combat and one's a reaction. But I could have got an extra single movement just by committing them. But they are good cards and I don't want to lose them on just one single movement action. So what we'll do is we will keep the door closed. So that is Tyra. That's where she's up to. Let's pop across, have a look at Olazabal. And here's Olazabal. Again, she is still at 4 of hit points. So that is fine. It hasn't changed. She now has Bone Saw, Experimental Device, Extra Steam and Grease. The card that we discarded was Gasoline for those extra 2 action points to move 2 squares. So she stood right behind Tyra now. So that's Olazabal. Finally, let's have a quick look at Elisa. Here's Elisa. She's still at full health of 3 hit points. She's fine. Now, she's still got her Elvish Dagger because she's been doing wounds for fun and getting it back. She's still got Ghostly Helper and she's still got Torrent of Fire, so she's fine. She is within range of the door and is actually adjacent to Tyra, but that's no good because she can't actually aid her. So, but we're all pretty bunched up and we're going to try and get through that door this episode. So let's get back to the board and let's get to the hero phase. And here we are at the hero phase. So first things first, let's move all the pegs outwards. There we go. So what are we going to do and what order are our heroes going to go in? Well, we definitely need to get this door open. And we need to get it open pronto and get into that room. That means we've got to have Tyra go first, really, because she's blocking the door. So she's going to try and open it and she's going to try and get into that room. Now, she's up here on charge, but we need movement. The nearest movement segment is down here. So that is 1, 2, 3. Remember, aim, shot and bash as part of the same segment. So we need to use 3 action points. So we move 3 action points to get down here. This symbol means we get 1 additional card. So we'll get a deck. And we could do with something really good. We've got Rush, which is movement and it's also special. You get 4 plus a response card. It's time for one of us to die. Let's see if it's you or me. Well, that's very nice. So that goes into her hand and we may be using it pretty swiftly. That may be just the sort of card that we needed. So are we going to commit it? Because now we've got movement. We used 3 action points to get here. 1, 2, 3. That leaves her with 2. Now that's enough to open the door and move 1 square. So I think we can actually commit this because it's got a movement symbol. If it just had the special symbol, then we wouldn't be able to commit it because we're not on the special part of the rondel. But it does have a movement symbol. So we are going to commit it. That gives us an extra 4. So that would be 1, 5, and whatever we get via the response card. Are we going to play any more cards? No, we are not. We are certainly not going to aid Tyra because it's not allowed. So let's get the response deck and we get a +2. So we end up with 6 there. And the 2 that she's got left, that is 8, is it not? So the first thing she's going to do is she is going to use 1 movement point to open the door. Then that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she's going right in front of... In fact, she's not. She's only going to use 5. She can hit it. Oh no, 6. She's going to use 6. The reason I'm using 6 is I believe if this guy gets to move, what he'd do is he would move back he would move back and try and put some range in between. So he's got 3 range, so he can still move back 1 and cause us a bit of trouble, but he'd still be in range. So we'll move up right next to him. Normally what I'd do is stay here. The reason for that is it means we're closer to the exit, but let's move right up. So that is Tyra's go. We can move that inwards. That can be discarded, as can that. So there we are. That is the end of Tyra's go. Our next player, who's that going to be? And here we are, back again. After a quick think, our next player is going to be Olazabal. It's going to do exactly the same as Tyra, and she's going to use action points to go 1, 2, 3. I did think about bash, because in fact we may... No, because we've got to move. We do have to move, unfortunately. So 1, 2, 3. That's the reason why I didn't use bash. So 1, 2, 3. She's on the move segment. She gets a card. So let's draw from her deck. And she gets engineering. Again, good card. It's got a lot of icons on it. It's 2 if she uses it herself, but it's 5 for aiding, which is pretty much she can only help Elisa, as it turns out. Committee work at its best, so pretty good. We've got engineering. Let's put that into her hand. Her hand size is currently at 5, so that's okay. She has a hand limit of 7, so she can still have a couple of cards. Now, it took her 1, 2, 3 to get round here. She only has a single action point left, but we want to get her in this room. So what we're going to play is we are going to play Grease. So that will put her up to 4 action points. So we will go 1, 2, 3, 4 to here. She couldn't go into one of these rubble spots because that takes 3. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, and we only had 4. Oh, did we have 5 action points? Oh no, we only had 4. So we didn't have enough action points to move into one of these rubble spaces. So we'll stay in a normal space. So that is where she is going. That is it for her turn. So let's move this inwards. And that is it for her. Next up, it is Elisa. And here we are with Elisa. What is she going to do? Well, she's only going to move 1. She's only going to use 1 action point to go to the move space. There are 3 spaces on here, so that's fine. They can all fit on. So we'll put her there. And that means she gets a card as well. So first of all, let's see what she gets. And she gets Fireball. Ooh, combat card. Cast a flaming spell. Your attack becomes an area attack with combat +3 against 1 figure in range and each other figure within 1 range of it. Cool. This attacks heroes and enemies. I've always been a very visual person and a keen observer. I bet you have. So she's got Fireball. That means she now has 4 cards in her hand. And let's get on to the move part. Oh, let's get rid of Grease. That has been discarded. Put that at the back of Olazabal's deck. So, movement. We've got 4 points, 4 action points left. So we could go 1, 2, 3, and that is what we are going to do. She is just going to stay here. She's got Torrent of Fire and Fireball. So anything comes up here, they're going to get a massive blast out of the door. And the good thing is, Olazabal and Tyra, they're not in the way, so we're not going to hit any of our friends. So hopefully we'll deal some doom here if we have to. Excellent stuff. So that is it for Elisa. So all of our heroes have gone. So next up we have the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase. Now, we're probably in for a bit of trouble here. We got lucky last turn with the spawn, but we're going to get at least movement, probably. So, at worst, we're going to get an attack. If we do get an attack, we are going to be attacked, because we have at least one cultist who is in range. These two guys aren't, because it's a range of 3, so 1, 2, 3. Elisa is out of range, which is good news. Right, so let's pull that response card. And we get a +2. No, we've got no eye, so there's no spawn shenanigans. So we've just got +2. Let's move the green bead. 1, 2. So we've got movement, then attack. I think we are all right. I think the only attack we're going to get is from this guy, but we'll see. So let's go to movement. Every single enemy piece is going to move now. I've just got to check the priority. Won't be a second. Okay, I'm back. So the movement priority is insectoids first. We haven't got any. Then it is cultists. These are all cultists. We go smallest to largest after that, and the acolyte counts as smallest. So he has a movement of 2, and he's going to move towards the cultist exit. So he's going to go 1, 2. So that is his movement. After them, it is obviously our guards, which are the only remaining enemies on the board. So closest to farthest away moves first. So this guy's the closest. What it's going to do, I think it is going to move. It's going to move back 1. Is it going to try and get out of range? Can't move here because it only has... What movement has it got? It's only got 3 movement, but it does try to stay at range of 3. So we've used 1. Hasn't got enough movement to go here. Hasn't got enough movement to go there because it's water, and that costs 4 action points. That costs 3. So it's going to go 1. And it's not going to do its last movement. The reason for that is it needs to attack. Yeah, if it's round here, it won't be able to attack anybody. So it's going to stay here. It's going to stay at the best spot where it's the most awkward to be hit itself. It's got the most range it can while still being able to hit one of our guys. So that is okay. I think it's aiming, in fact, at poor old Elisa, I think. Yes, it's going to. So, that's a bit bad. Okay, so he's moved. The other two are just going to try and get as close as they can. So closest, he's the closest. So that is 1, 2, 3. And the furthest away, 1, 2. 2's all it can go. You cannot move diagonally. So that didn't work in their favour. But they are getting closer. Unfortunately, 1, 2, it cannot see Elisa, so we're alright. She's only going to be hit by this guy, I think. So that is not too bad. Okay, so that is the movement of all the enemies, and we catch up with the bead, and we have the attack. The only guy that can attack is this guy. I'm just going to check, but I think he will be attacking Elisa. Won't be a minute. Hello, I'm back. It is as I thought. It will attack the weakest hero first, and Elisa is the weakest hero. And as you can see, he can get a shot in. One thing... Ooh. Hang on. I'm not sure that you can go past 2 corners like that. Gonna have to check again. Sorry. Hello, me again. Yes, it's a good job I checked that. I'll just show it you in the rules. So here we are at line of sight. What it says is 2 corners of blocked line of sight squares will block line of sight. You may draw a line of sight through one corner of a square that blocks line of sight, such as the corner of a wall or the corner of a square containing an enemy, but line of sight cannot cross 2 corners of blocked squares, even if the 2 corners are not near each other. So if we go back to the board, I think Elisa has got away with it, he says. Perhaps if he put his laser target lock the right way around. As you can see, there is the corner there and there is the corner there. So during movement, he wouldn't have gone this far because he wouldn't be able to hit anything. He would have just gone back the 1. Now he's got absolutely no problem with hitting Tyra. It is straight in front of him, so that's what he'll do. So that is the reason why he didn't move 2 spaces and try and attack Elisa. It's because of those 2 corners. He cannot have line of sight across 2 corners. So he's going to attack Tyra instead. There's no problem with that. So let's have a look at his attack stats. It's within 3 range, so that's fine. He's got an attack of 2. So he has an attack of 2. Let's check what the defence for Tyra is. She has got a defence of 3. I am just going to check the enemy attack. Won't be a second. Okay, I am back. Just sorting that out, make sure I get it right. So this guard is going to attack Tyra. The guard has got 2 attack and Tyra has got 3 defence. Now is the time Tyra has got to play any cards from her hand to give her extra defence. Is she going to do that? Well, no. The reason she's not going to do that is because she's got 2 cards in her hand and the good cards. Plus the fact she actually gets a bit stronger in combat if she does take a wound. So let's just let it roll for now. So she's not going to play any of the cards from her hand. So what happens is the guard, who has got an attack of 2, draws a response card. So it's 2 against 3 as it stands at the moment. Let's get rid of that old response card. And he gets +1. So that's 3 versus 3. Yeah, but we've not finished yet. As it stands, Tyra's got away with it. Ties mean that you do not get hit. But Tyra has also got to draw a response card because she is defending. So at the start, she gets a chance to play any cards out of her hand to defend. And if she was on the defend part of the Stone of Destiny, then she'd get a bonus from that as well, but she isn't. But she's also got to draw one of these response cards, and we do have cards that have minus values in there, but as it stands, she's not been hit. So here we go, and not a minus, a +1. So she ended up being missed by the guard, fortunately enough, so she's took no damage. So there we had an enemy attack. So that's how it works. As soon as the enemy attacks, you compare the attack bonuses, which were 2 versus 3. Then you decide as a defender, as a hero, whether you're going to play any cards from your hand. Once you've done that, then you will pick a resolve card for the enemy attacker. Once that enemy attacker resolve card has been picked, you cannot play any more cards from your hand. That is it. Then you do get a second chance to pick a resolve card of your own to see if you can defend. That's what Tyra did, and we're laughing she didn't get hit. So excellent stuff. That is the end of the enemy phase. So Pencil Parley, I know, will be a lot happier in the fact that the guys with blowpipes actually got to have a go, even if it was only 1. That did take a bit of sussing out. There were a few sort of elements that had to be took into account, especially these two corners that essentially blocked line of sight to Elisa, which I think is right. If it isn't right, please let me know, in which case we'll just apply that same attack to Elisa. She had a... Oh, even if he'd attacked Elisa, that would have been fine, because she had a defense of 2. So the +1 would have made it a tie for her, so she would have got away with it as well. But just let me know, because if he could attack Elisa, then he would have done, in which case he'd be stood here. But as I say, what we pulled out of the response deck means he couldn't have hit either of them anyway. Okay, so that is it for the enemy phase, and that is the end of episode 3. Thank you so much for watching. Apologies about my huge error last turn. Hopefully I've fixed it. If there's been another error this turn, please, please, please let me know, and I will try and fix it. And again, just let me know about that guard. I think I played it right, and I think I played the enemy attack right, but you never know. Okay, so yes, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all the views. Thanks for all the subscriptions. Thanks for all the likes. It is greatly appreciated, as is all the help and support that you have given me. It's absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody who's been across to Board Game Links to upvote the site, and thanks to everybody at BGG who have helped out on the Perdition's Mouth Abyssal Rift thread. The videos I've got there, and have done all the likes and given the geek gold and all that. Very nice, thank you very much. And any of the other videos that you've had a look at BGG, thanks very much. But until next time, when I hope you join me for episode 4 of Perdition's Mouth Abyssal Rift, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.